actually going global. A platform such as Twitter gives you that opportunity to automatically go global. I suppose for me, how important is it there are nuances obviously in different markets, but is it a case of on digital platforms now, do you have one piece of content that works globally, or do you still have different types of content for the different audiences, and how does that affect live if it is an event such as the NFL or it is Premier League football, which goes everywhere?
I mean, honestly, there's no simple answer again, but I think I've found a perception in local markets, so I work in a global world, a perception in local market that things have to be made there, they have to be perfectly tailored to that audience. And I think a lot of really great content that kind of taps into kind of human truths and, something like a Dove sketches or something like that, you don't need to remake that with kind of people who happen to be filmed in front of a street in your hometown. Yeah. So I think it varies a lot. That said, it's very easy in like a global team to say this creative and this insight works perfectly well, and it's hard to underestimate the differences in audiences and things between like Saudi Arabia and the US. So it's going to require a bit of sense. And I think one of the great things about digital is you can often test that. So you can take a bit of content, you can show it to just a few thousand people in a market, you can do like a brand lift, you can do some research around it, and you can see, is this working, is this not working, do I need to adapt it more to this market? And I think it's a learning experience along that journey.
I think I was at an event in the weekend with some clients, and actually the conversation that kept coming up there was this battle for efficiency. This concern that actually, if I've got to make a piece of content for every platform that's slightly different, and if I've got to do that in 100 different markets, so that Belgium's different to Burundi or whatever it may be, that's an awful lot of stuff, and that's not an efficient model from my perspective, from their perspective. So I totally have a lot of sympathy for that. But I think the solution there is to find out how much kind of nuanced context is enough. That might come from the platform, and often does. It might come from the market, to Jerry's point. But at the same event, somebody put a video on of, and I'm going to show my age here, it was like pineapple pen. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
I literally hadn't seen it. Went home and the kids were like, yeah, it's been all over school for 3 weeks. And it was, but literally, people from all over the globe at this event, and every single person was like totally engaged by it. So it shows that you can get that thing right if you kind of come up with that great idea. And I don't think ideas become less important. I think they become more so.
I think it's also about, to Jerry's point, having the foresight of knowing whether a piece of content or a strategy has to travel into different markets. Too often what tends to happen is that a market will do something very well, which will work well, and then it will be asked if it can be exploited into other markets, and that's when you get the challenges and the pushback that maybe the nuances aren't in this market. So if it's planned for in advance and you can understand the insights and what does universally ties everybody together, then it can work quite well. But the flexibility of something like Twitter or a Facebook is that you don't have to do either. You can just optimize a few markets at a time. You can do everything globally. You can do a single market. You can learn as you go. It doesn't have to be that you book a full month's campaign and then at the end of the month realize that maybe 50% of the media spend was inefficient because the story was wrong. So I think that level of flexibility is not really like we've seen before in such a live environment.
And do you think, adding that in there, do you think there's going to be a genuine shift now from budgets? We'll see more and more being pushed into live, because obviously it transcends all that, makes connecting with the global world a lot easier. The whole live piece is at different audiences at different times. Do you think more, we touched briefly on budgets and brands and where they're placing their spend. Do you think we'll see more and more coming this way over the next couple of years?
I think so. I mean, I think a lot of it depends on how the clients work and how many clients do work at a global level. So the client that Jerry works on is very global. I have a lot of very local clients, and they work very independently from the rest of their markets. But there is generally a shift for a lot of clients anyway to run their businesses at a global central level. So I think it'll be a lot as how that evolves, and then how that evolves in terms of media spend distribution.
I think it does seem to be a fix to some of the challenges facing digital media at the moment, like the complexity of millions of different formats and things. And if you have a fairly consistent live product that you can run, great. And even things around, the worries about ad blocking or people skipping ads and all some of that conversation in the industry. If someone is paying full attention to a live stream, your ad is in there, and it's, not so boring and so long that they have time to go make a cup of tea, but, just an instant part of it. Can be pretty sure they're going to watch that. And I think that is a reassuring thing at a time when, we are asking some tough questions about that on some other formats and some other platforms.
And I think, going back to Jerry's earlier point, I mean, yes, it would be brilliant if we can leverage efficiencies, sort of across the plan, but ultimately we can A/B test so quickly now and across different markets with different creatives. So, let's use those tools and let's analyse the results, see what worked, see what didn't work, and use it as a moving sort of a test and learn process throughout, rather than just doing it once, discounting it because maybe it didn't work that time. So
it's kind of about longevity as well. I think that's the key. And I think what excites me is the fact that you have this kind of live environment, and not only does it kind of help drive creativity by making people think slightly more innovatively, which is always good. You cross all these audiences. It brings together different parts, and also the data thing I think is really key. You talk about having the right ads for the right people. This I think now allows you to have the right ads at the right time, and I think that will be something that will be really interesting. So